Bleacher Report has dropped a ranking on the most overrated players in the NBA right now. And you guys know on this channel, we love to rank players. We love to react to rankings. We love all of that, right? Subscribe if you guys haven't, because we're on the road to 3K subs. But this is going to be interesting. I'm expecting some hot takes in this article by Dan Favale. I'm probably saying that name wrong, but as you guys can see, it just dropped July 21st, which is only a few days ago. If you guys want to see the most underrated players, because there's also an article on that, make sure to subscribe and drop a like on this video, and I got you guys with that tomorrow. They have Kaminga and Jaylen Green on the cover of this article, so I wonder if they're going to be in the ranking, because those are two interesting young players in the NBA. But let's get into it. So who do they have first? See what we got. And we have Jonathan Isaac from the Orlando Magic is going to be 5th place in the most overrated players ranking. This is an interesting one, and I'm reading, they're saying per minute impact goes only so far when the minutes don't add up, which is true, but like he's a good player. I think everyone that's really deep into the NBA world knows that, but he's just so injury prone. I think it would kind of be dumb to slam him with a crazy amount of minutes and play him, you know, 35 minutes a night. He's just going to get re-injured. That's the type of player he is, especially right now, just coming back from like what, not playing basketball for like 3 to 4 years. I don't know, bro. This is kind of an interesting take. I don't know if I could get behind it, because there's probably a like different 5th player that I could name that's more overrated than Jonathan Isaac. I mean, we got to see who's, you know, 1 through 4 in this list. But I think I could argue Jonathan Isaac is underrated. Like, I feel like, I mean, who are we talking about here? Because if we're talking about NBA casuals, which is like most of the NBA fans, like a lot of the NBA fans just watch their own team. Like most people probably don't even know who Jonathan Isaac is. So I feel like he's kind of underrated, especially when you talk about his permanent impact. I don't know, this kind of goes both ways. You could say he's underrated or overrated based on how you look at it. I don't hate it, but I personally would not have Jonathan Isaac in my top 5. Number 4, Jamal Murray. Okay, this is interesting because we saw what he did in the playoffs. He is a playoff performer, but in the regular season, a lot of the time he's injured. He gets injured a lot. Yeah, so I'm looking at it. Last season, he played 59 regular season games. The season before that, 65. The season before that, 48 games. And the season before that, 59. So he's pretty much, you know, penciled in to miss like 25 games in the regular season. But that doesn't matter too much, because the Nuggets are a team that's pretty much always in the playoffs. And when they get there, Jamal Murray performs. So I don't know about this one. Let's see what they're saying. Where would he be without Jokic? Okay, so they're saying he gets carried by Jokic, which is interesting because we remember, like, against the Lakers in that first round series from this past postseason, Jamal Murray hit 2 game winners. So, you know, you could say the same about Jokic. I mean, yeah, Jokic is the leader of this team, but like, where would Jokic be if Jamal Murray's not hitting these clutch shots? And of course, they ended up losing to the Timberwolves in 7. So it's not like they want to ring off those game winners. I don't know. It's kind of a weird one. I don't hate it. I don't hate the Jamal Murray being overrated type thing, because if you're going to put him in the same tier as like, you know, Kyrie Irving, Jalen Brunson, and a lot of the best guards, I don't really think he's there, you know, in the regular season. And I mean, I'm sure the postseason his numbers go up a little bit, but in the regular season, he averages like 20 points per game. Like, he's no, you know, 25, 27 point per game scorer. Like Brunson was like 29. And I don't think anyone's comparing him to Brunson, but I'm just saying he's not like in that elite tier of guards. And I feel like some people do think he is. So I don't hate this Jamal Murray take, but it's tough. It's tough. Who do we have at number 3? We have Miles Bridges from the Charlotte Hornets. So they're saying, how much value does he provide to a winning team? That's a good take, or a good, you know, question, because Miles, of course, plays for the Hornets, who are one of the worst teams in the league. This is another weird one to me, kind of like the Jonathan Isaac one, because I don't think a lot of NBA fans are like drooling over Miles Bridges. Like, pause, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think people are jumping out of their chair saying Miles Bridges is insane. So calling him overrated, I don't know if I agree with that, because he plays a lot when he's on the court, like when he's not dealing with all the legal stuff or whatever. He is one of those guys that is going to play like every game, and he's going to play close to 40 minutes a game. Yeah, he's putting up numbers for a bad team in the Hornets, but it's like, I don't know. Are you going to take that away from him because he's on the Hornets? At that point, you might as well call Cade Cunningham overrated, because you can see the same thing about him. How much value does he provide to a winning team? No, we don't know. So honestly, I feel like this argument's kind of dumb. Yeah, Miles Bridges is not a player that's gonna, you know, be great on both sides of the ball. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Zach LaVine and what they provide to a team. Like, they can provide some scoring, but outside of that, they're not going to do much. Like, they're not going to really play make too good. They're not going to play defense, but they'd be like a really good, like, third option on a team. Second is pushing. If we're talking championship teams, Miles Bridges as your third option, or let's even say Zach LaVine as your third option, that is good. But having Miles Bridges as your first option, which the Hornets kind of had last year without LaMelo, I can see why you can question that a little bit. But is it his fault? He's a Hornet. I mean, maybe a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. Who do we have at number 2? Jaylen Green. Okay. This one's interesting. In the comments right now, do you agree with this take? Do you think Jaylen Green is overrated? Because I think Jaylen Green is one of the most polarizing players in the entire NBA, because you either love him or you hate him. Hate's kind of crazy. Like, maybe hate's not the right word, but you just don't like his game. You know what I'm saying? But so I have a story, right? I had him in fantasy basketball last year, right? And he was one of those players that was crazy inconsistent. He would have one good game randomly and then just be bad. He would just be mid, right? Until the end of the year when Sengun went down. But at that point, I was already out of the fantasy playoff. And I was trying to trade him all year, but no one wanted Jaylen Green. Like, it's just Jaylen Green, right? He's gonna chuck a lot of shots, probably miss a lot of shots. But this next season, after what he did at the end of the season for the Rockets, a lot of people are really high on him. And unfortunately to the Rockets fans and to the Jaylen Green fans, I'm gonna agree with this one. I do think Jaylen Green is one of the most overrated players in the NBA, especially for what people are saying he's about to do next year. Like, if you guys don't know, most of you guys don't know, but I'm big into fantasy basketball. And I've already looked at some numbers. They expect Jaylen Green to go in the second round of fantasy drafts. And I know this is a real NBA channel, but they kind of go hand in hand. That's how high people are on Jaylen Green. They think he's about to average like 25 points per game or some shit, bro. Like, I just don't see it. Yeah, they're saying the season begins before the All-Star break. That's what I was saying. Like, earlier in the season, he wasn't really there. But after the All-Star break, and honestly, it's pretty much because Sengun got hurt. That's why he really broke out at the end of last year. But it does say youngsters need time, and Jaylen Green doesn't turn 23 until February 9th. So the guy's only 22 years old. Hey, I'm not saying that he's gonna be terrible and he's gonna have a bad career. He's young. I'm just saying right now, I mean, I can see the hype a little bit, but like, I'm not fully bought in on it like right now. Maybe 3 years from now, but right now, I don't think Jaylen Green is the player that people are trying to make him out to be. And you guys can see pre-All-Star break, 18.4 points per game, 31.8% on threes. He was just missing a lot. And then post All-Star break again, when Alperen Sengun got injured, what was it, like a leg injury? Averaging almost 23 points per game, 37% on threes. So the numbers obviously went up when their superstar center, or whatever star center, went down. And I'm honestly surprised they're not even mentioning anything about Alperen Sengun in this article, because I really feel like that's why he started to break out at the end of the year. Sengun went down. Number 1 is Jonathan Kaminga. Why do we do this? Why do we do this? What was his name? What's his name from Bleacher Report, bro? His name is Dan Favale. I'm definitely saying that wrong. Why are we doing this? Bro, I think he has star potential. I think he does. And we're going to see it this year. He's going to be a 20 point per game scorer. He's still really young. They're saying we still need more at both ends of the floor for longer. I don't know. I gotta read this. He said, but this idea that he's cornerstone material both inside and outside the Warriors organization is bizarre. Maybe he'll get there one day. I hope he does. He's not there yet though. I mean, no one's saying he's like franchise player type material right now. I don't even think the Warriors are saying that, but he's just a really good young asset that, you know, when the Warriors are talking about all these Lauri Markkanen trades, like, you don't want to just throw in Jonathan Kaminga and picks for Lauri Markkanen. Like, you got to think things through. Like, Kaminga can be one of the stars in the Warriors for the future, right? When Curry's gone, Clay has already, you know, out. Draymond's gonna leave in what, 3 years? Kaminga has the perfect build. He's got the perfect frame, physicality. He has everything what it takes to be a star. He's 6'8", 210. We saw what he could do when it came to scoring last year. His defense is okay. He's still young. How young is he? He is 21 years old. Most overrated for a 21-year-old? I mean, I don't think anyone's saying like Kaminga's some superstar already. Putting him at number 1 when he's, I don't know. Again, I can get behind the Jaylen Green being overrated because, again, in my fantasy drafts, fantasy basketball, they're already saying he's a second rounder, right? Should go like pick 24. That's crazy. There's so many, like, he's not an all-star yet, in my mind at least. Maybe he proved me wrong. But he's not an all-star yet, right? That's like top 24 players. He's not that yet. I can get behind that. Miles Bridges, I mean, I don't hate it, but I can't really get behind that. Then we have Jamal Murray. I don't mind it. I don't mind him being an overrated one. And Jonathan Isaac being an overrated one's a weird one because he's just been injured. So it's like, are you going to take that away from him? Like, that's why he's getting low minutes, if we're being real. Again, make sure you guys subscribe. It's free. And if you guys want to see the underrated rankings, I will drop that tomorrow. If you're watching this down the line, the video is probably already on my channel. So check it out right now.